Welcome to HOWSTUFFINMYCARWORKS channel. Today's video is actually going to be a fun video. I'm going to be installing this custom dual exhaust tip on this MK4 Volkswagen Jetta. To make it sound better, I'm going to delete one of the exhaust mufflers, the one at the very back, because the car has two. And aside from just being chrome exhaust tips, they also have their own resonator. This is going to give the car a deep sound. The engine that the car has is a VR6. A VR6 engine would sound good anyways, even if I got rid of the exhaust muffler and didn't put anything at all. With this dual exhaust tip, it's going to sound even better. So let's get started. Okay, so I have the rear of the car up on jack stands, as you can tell. And if you look under the car, you see this muffler right here. Follow the exhaust, you can see another one right here. And then farther front you have the catalytic converter. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that one so the car is not so loud that it becomes annoying. Plus keep the backfiring to a minimum. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm gonna get rid of this one, the rear muffler. The car right now is super quiet, you know, with a catalytic converter and two mufflers. If you look right there, you know, the cars are already set up to have a different type of exhaust, because some of their models come with dual exhaust tips. They're not loud at all, but they do have, chrome exhaust tips that come out. In this case, you know, you just had the exhaust that came down just like this does. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it right here. That way the tips won't be hanging down and looking odd. But not just yet. So the first step, I'm going to cut it right here, because this is aftermarket, so it's already been replaced. And I should still have a little bit of the original pipe to work with. This part was the one that was bolted to the body on the opposite side, right there. That's how I was able to remove it once I cut it off. Right here is where it bolts on. Since the aftermarket muffler was actually welded, I'm gonna have to cut this piece off right here to have just pipe and be able to work with it. Alright, so as you can tell right now, I have the exhaust. I haven't trimmed this yet. I mean, I'm placing everything on to make sure it's gonna fit. And what I ended up using, they're just 2-inch pipes. Obviously I had to have an elbow over here. I still have to finalize it and make sure the angle is accurate. You know, I can set it up where I want it to come out, you know, how far out. And then the next step, I'm gonna take this off and I'm gonna trim it here so it's, you know, more flush with the car. But so far, you know, it's looking good. Even before I trim it, you know, starting to look good. Back from looking from underneath, I mentioned that this vehicle's already have this notch right there. So using this white chalk, I'm gonna mark what is that, so I don't go past it. And even though there's, you know, a big gap right here on from behind, I'm not gonna go all the way, because I still want the molding right here to have something to hang on to, and, you know, would attach to the car, so I won't go all the way up. Alright, so the exhaust tips are about 5 inches wide. and the distance on the stock opening is 10 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave 2.5 on each side. Maybe a little, probably make it 2, that way it has an extra 1/2 inch. So 2 and 2, and that should center the exhaust tips in the opening, just like that. Now I can give it I can cut it what I want it. So I'm going to cut it right there. That will give the exhaust an opening right there. I'm going to use this tool right here to smooth the edges down. Alright, so that's the exhaust right there. You know, that's how it looks. The original exhaust mounting was using this thing, and obviously that's not going to work for this one. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to remove this clip and I'm going to put a bolt. I'm going to use this part to hold it. Now I didn't want to weld anything on it, but there is not enough distance right here to put a clamp, because this is supposed to go like this, you know, obviously on the other side, and then the clamps around both the pipe and the bracket, but there is such a small distance that I won't be able to do that. So instead, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna bolt it right there where that clip is, and I'm gonna weld it to the exhaust. That way it can hold it, because right now I just have a piece of wood right there holding it, just so I can get the correct distance. But once I fasten it where it should be, and then put clamps on the joints, you know, to keep the exhaust from leaking. But that's what's next. You know, I'm gonna use this. Alright, so what I did, I tack welded the hanger to the clamp instead of the pipe, because the pipe being so thin, and it could have burned right through. Now I can get rid of the piece of wood that I put back there to keep it in place. So it's nice and firm, you know. I can pull on it. You know, it obviously it has a little bit of cushion because of the hanger that I put on it, but it's nice and strong. So this is what it looks like directly from underneath. Now let's see if it sounds as good as it looks. Well, I would say it sounds as good as it looks.